from where the news comes first. This is News Channel 2 at noon.
Now at noon, the News Channel 2 tower cam showing sunny skies across central New York, but don't let that fool you. It is cold out there. Jill has your full weekend forecast coming up. And with those bitter cold temperatures, pipes can burst fast, wreaking havoc. We'll tell you what to do to help protect your home. And a busy day of reckoning in Oneida County Court today. 3 men charged in high-profile cases, all of which resulted in the loss of human life. We have that and much more as News Channel 2 at noon gets underway right now. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jason Powers. Before we get to all of those stories, we're following breaking news this noon. Austrian company AMS has pulled out of the Nano Utica deal in the SUNY Poly area. News Channel 2's Katrina Smith is live in studio with the very latest. Katrina.
Good afternoon, Jason. Good afternoon, everyone. A Swiss publication came out with the news first, and I quote from a translation of that article. AMS is moving from plans to build a chip factory in the United States state of New York. This is the result of an internal communication in which finance and business took a look. That article goes on to say, after delays on the part of New York State regarding subsidies and construction, they're informing negotiating partners they are not pursuing what they called FABC. FABC was an internal name of the plans for nano development with SUNY Poly. Another headline out of San Antonio says the Austrian computer chip maker is, quote, pulling the plug on a $2 billion factory in Utica that would have leased from SUNY Polytechnic Institute. This article states work has stalled since the April groundbreaking and the arrest of Elaine Caballeros. All those elected officials you saw on hand for the groundbreaking just 8 months ago will be at a Marcy Nano Center press conference today. That's happening at 3 o'clock at the Oneida County Legislature chambers. County Executive Anthony Pacenti, Assemblyman Anthony Brindisi, Senator Joe Griffo, Utica Mayor Robert Palmieri, Rome Mayor Jacqueline Izzo, and officials from the Mohawk Valley Edge all on hand for that. We'll carry that live on WKTV NBC. We'll also stream it live on our website, WKTV.com, and we'll continue to follow this breaking news for you tonight at 5. For now, I'm Katrina Smith reporting live in studio. Jason, back to you.
Thanks, Katrina. Let's switch gears for a moment now and focus on the cold weather. Bitter cold temperatures still enveloping our area. Let's get an update now with meteorologist Jill Reel. She's in the Storm Tracker 2 Weather Center. Jill, it's balmy out there now.
Yes, we're above zero. That is some great news. We were 11 below zero this morning, which smashes our record of 5 below, which was set back in 1930. Very cold temperatures this morning. Now we have a little bit of a wind to deal with, so it feels like 5 below with that wind out of the east-southeast at 7 miles per hour. Up north, 1 now in Big Moose, 3 in Inlet, 9 in Westmoreland, 10 in Deansboro. As we head to the south, Helen and Castro at 16 degrees, 12 in Hamilton, 14 in Norwich. Dry conditions on our Storm Tracker 2 Alive radar. Clouds are beginning to push into central New York, so while we did see lots of sunshine this morning, clouds will increase out ahead of our next storm system that's going to bring us, you guessed it, more snow tonight. But dry conditions for this evening, if you're heading out for this evening, looks to be okay. Snow arrives later on tonight. I'll give you all the specific details coming up in just a bit. Jason?
Jill, thanks. Utica fire crews were called to a building on Columbia Street and Broadway after a pipe burst there due to frigid temperatures. Now, fire officials tell us a pipe burst in the 4th floor of the building. Crews were called to the scene a little after midnight, and they spent more than an hour trying to get water out of that building. Well, they turned off the power and the heat because water was running over electrical elements. The building was closed until officials can work to ensure the wiring has all dried out. Well, more than 1,000 people lost power last night in the record cold after a national grid equipment failure at a Whitesboro substation. 1,900 people, as a matter of fact, were without power early on. Then around 4, it was restored to 700 of those customers. Just after 6, everybody had their power back. The temperature at that hour was still below zero. Red Cross officials have released important information on how to keep your pipes in your home and businesses from freezing. If you have a garage, make sure that garage door is closed. Open kitchen and bathroom cabinet doors to allow the warmer air to circulate around the plumbing, and let your cold water drip from any faucet served by those exposed pipes. If you are away for the day, do not set your thermostat any lower than 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Judgment Day for the Holland Patton teen who admitted to murdering his father. At his sentencing in Oneida County Court this morning, Austin Parker said he and his father had a strained relationship, which then led police to finding 52-year-old Stephen Parker's body under a tarp in their backyard in June. News Channel 2's Jolene Ferris joins us now live in studio with the latest. Jolene.
Thanks, Jason. Austin Parker was soft-spoken and quite articulate and forthcoming about what he did and his regret. We know from earlier court proceedings that Parker shot his dad with a long gun through a window in the house where he stood above his father, who was grilling their dinner outside. There are undisputed facts about the strain Parker was under leading up to his dad's murder. His mother had died. His best friend died. Parker and his dad had a strained relationship, and according to him, his dad wasn't helping him through all this, but he did acknowledge what he did, apologize, and say he wished he could take it all back.
I just wish that things had gone different and that maybe my father was the one that was going to be able to help me through all those ordeals. But at the end of the day, he's still my father. I still love him to death. I know what I did was wrong, but if I could just bring him back, I would sacrifice anything to bring him back.
The judge acknowledged all the teen had been through leading up to his dad's murder, but he also pointed out it was a very calculated, cold-blooded killing, one that the teen covered up, then going on with his life as though his dad was still alive for about a month until he was caught. The judge sentenced Austin Parker to 20 years to life in prison. Jason.
Jolene, thanks. Word of Life Church defendant Daniel Irwin had nothing to say today when sentenced in Oneida County Court. However, the sister of Lucas and Christopher Leonard had plenty to say. News Channel 2's Gary Liebertor joins us now live from the newsroom with more. Gary, good afternoon.
Well, good afternoon, Jason. 25-year-old Daniel Irwin has been in prison for 13 months since just after the church beatings in October of last year. Today, he was sentenced to 2 years in Oneida County Jail, so he doesn't have much longer to serve. But the sister of beating victims Lucas and Christopher Leonard say he should be serving a lot more for standing guard over the two teens as others beat them. Crystal Leonard Lindsay, who was the only Leonard family member who spoke at Daniel Irwin's sentencing today, says Daniel Irwin played a huge role in Lucas Leonard's death by standing guard over them as others beat them and not stopping it or going to the authorities. Oneida County District Attorney Scott McNamara says even though Irwin was a deacon, he didn't really have any say in the church. He was just following the commands of the ruler of the church, his older sister, Tiffany Irwin.
I understand Daniel did not want to get involved with the interrogation and beating of Lucas and Christopher. But something is dreadfully wrong when a young man who holds a clergy position in a church decides to do nothing while he observes appalling violence has been committed and 2 people are suffering terribly. Daniel, he could have done something. He could have sought life-saving care for Luke. He could have comforted and eased the suffering of Chris. Instead, he sat, guarding the beaten one, guarding the one bleeding to death, because in some deranged way he decided that is how a church demonstrates the love of God.
And Oneida County District Attorney Scott McNamara also spoke in court today, emphasizing the fact that he says there is no proof whatsoever that Lucas and Christopher Leonard ever molested Sarah Ferguson's children. McNamara says the only reason the two were beaten by their father and other church members is because they threatened to leave the church. Now, Daniel Irwin has 11 months left to serve in the county jail. Tiffany Irwin and Joe Irwin are scheduled to be sentenced for their roles next week. Linda Morey and David Morey are due to be sentenced in January. Reporting live, Gary Liebertor, News Channel 2.
All right, Gary, thanks. Also in Oneida County Court, Elijah Brown was sentenced for the shooting death of Christopher Bush of Georgia in what police called a drug deal gone bad. Brown was 18 when he shot Bush on Brinkerhoff Avenue in Utica this past summer. Now, the judge sentenced Brown to 15 years in state prison for his plea to manslaughter in Bush's death. When the judge asked Brown if he had anything to say, he said he was Rastafarian and asked that the state not cut his hair. Also in Oneida County Court today, a man being sentenced for the rape of his daughter had an outburst and some heated words for the judge as the judge told him about a restraining order that would prohibit the man from having any contact with his daughter until the year 2054.
You want to fight? Come on.
What's that mean?
I'll fight with you.
31st of March of 2054. If you have any contact with her, additional felony charges will be lodged against you. The defendant is executed a written waiver. Have a miserable life.
Yeah, I'll see you in prison when you're dead.
We did not identify the defendant because that would identify his daughter, and we don't identify rape victims. The man was sentenced to 15 years in prison and 15 years of post-release supervision. The United Marshal Service needs your help in finding a wanted man who's believed to be in the Utica, Rome area. 46-year-old Benji Dyer is a level 2 sex offender. He's wanted for several offenses, including harassment and violation of New York State Sex Offender Registry Act. If you have any information that'll help locate this man, call the number right here, 315-374-6326 or 724-1744. Still ahead, meteorologist Jill Reels here with your full forecast. Stay with us.